Hello guys, how are you? So hello guys and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Betty Ntusa, for those who may not know, and my channel is Binti Afya Kenya. So Binti Afya Kenya represents women's health in Kenya. So all we talk about is issues to do with women's health, but also we do like short videos or just highlighting or rather brief videos showing or highlighting issues that are facing our women in Kenya or generally the population in Kenya or worldwide. So the theme for this year's September Prevention Awareness, Suicide Prevention Awareness Month is creating hope through action. So what are some of the actions we can do? I'm going to talk about those actions later on the video. But right now, I want us to focus on the statistics in Kenya and also globally on suicide. As we focus on statistics of suicide prevention or suicide-related cases in Kenya and globally, we are going to look at a research that was done in 2019 by WHO, that is World Health Organization. And the statistics show that 800,000 people die in Kenya, globally, due to suicide-related issues. And also in Kenya, the number rose from 421 in 2018 to 1,418 in 2019 when the research was done. So actually, when I was reading that article just to get to know the statistics, it shows that actually there is no data or there's minimal data on the current years, that is 2020 and 2021, to talk about prevention. So I think we need to do something to be able to raise awareness on these issues and also to get data so that you can be able to talk to someone about it and show them the reason why this is the issue that needs to be talked about more and we need to focus on it. I would like to highlight on the issues of trigger signs and also warning signs. So some of the warning signs that might actually show you or make you realize that someone is sort of thinking of doing or committing suicide is that these people might have like self-harming behaviors. That is, they may cut. I'm sure you've seen people cut themselves with blades or swallow a lot of medication or things like that. It's not always possible for you to know or think about someone who wants to do suicide or someone who, it's not easy for you to be able to identify this warning sign, but things that you might look at or things that might help you to understand someone who might be going through suicide actions include talking or writing about death or feeling trapped in a way and no way out. Have you ever heard someone, say that I feel trapped in this life, it's like I'm not moving forward? So that's one of the warning signs. Then you might actually see this person withdrawing from people or family and friends. They just want to be alone. And, those are some of the things that might actually make you realize that, this person is going through something and they might actually be thinking about doing suicide action. Then another sign or a warning sign is giving away possession or personal possession. Like someone may just decide, I don't need this TV or I don't need this phone or things that are actually they valued much earlier, but right now they want to give them away. Another warning sign include regularly self-harming, and self-harming means that like inflicting bruises or cuts on yourself. Maybe they may use a razor or things like that. And you can also notice significant change in mood. Like this person is very restless or hopeless, and they are not actually they are not themselves. If they were joyful people or people who love, doing outdoor activities or very outgoing, that is, they may just decide, to be on their own. Another warning sign that you might actually look at and realize that someone might be thinking of committing suicide is drug and alcohol abuse. and this is an issue that even goes beyond suicide or any other thing. So this is something that you can look at, and you can maybe talk to the person and ask them, how they are doing. I'm actually going to support, but we are going to talk about that later. So I'm sure now you're aware of the warning signs, and those are things that might actually help you to understand someone who's going through some emotions or might be thinking of committing suicide. Something else I wanted to highlight on the video, or rather on this month of September, Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, is the trigger signs. I'm sure you've heard about things that, triggers are things that might actually be accelerating or making this person to think of committing suicide. And some of the triggers include loss of an important person. Like, this person is, say, maybe your parent, your sister, or someone that you actually dependent on. And when that person dies or that person is not there, you feel like you don't have hope. There's no way out. You feel like trapped, the way that I talked about the warning signs earlier. So that's something that might actually trigger someone to think about committing suicide. Something else is incest or child abuse. And child abuse may include maybe rape cases or domestic violence that you might have experienced as you're growing up as a child. And much later, these things come up, or the emotions come back again, and you feel like you're not worthy even to live. And those are some of the things that might, make someone thinking of committing suicide. And something else is also a sense of failure. During these COVID times, a lot of people have lost their jobs. There are people who are actually struggling in their families, and you might reach a point, maybe as a man or a woman, feel like maybe you're the breadwinner for the family, and you reach a point whereby you feel like you're not able to provide for your family, you're not able to move forward. So those are some of the things that might actually that sense of failure. It's like you failed your family or people around you, might actually make you to think about committing suicide. Something else that might actually trigger someone to do or to think about committing suicide is bullying. And bullying may not be bullying might happen in school, and there's also cyberbullying, which is quite rampant in Kenya right now. So in the school setup, this could be a child, a very young school going girl that is being bullied at school because of, you never know, because of their weight or how they look. And this is something that needs to stop. And also on cyberbullying, I'm sure people have talked about cyberbullying earlier on in their social media, but it's good to highlight that actually cyberbullying might trigger someone to be able to think about taking their life, or just not being able to think about the positive way of handling it, because not everyone is able to handle cyberbullying. So those are some of the trigger signs that we need to look on. Then there's also experiencing discrimination, isolation, or relationship conflicts. So those are three things that I've talked about. This discrimination may be in the job or in your family, and also isolation, like people don't want to associate with you. And this might happen even in a relationship whereby your partner just don't want to associate with you, or they just feel like withdrawing from you. So those are some of the trigger signs, and I'm sure these are things that you've seen in people and even around your family. And this can actually help you to understand these people and find a way to help them. So what are some of the myths and facts that you've heard in Kenya or even globally on suicide prevention, or things to do with why people commit suicide? So a myth, one of the myths is that young people talk about committing suicide never attempt to take the action, or they're just seeking attention. And the fact is that people or anyone who is talking about suicide should actually be taken seriously. You can never dismiss someone's feeling or their emotions just because you think that they are seeking attention. That's not the right thing to do. Then another myth is that once a person has intent of committing suicide, there is no way to stop them. And that's a lie, because suicide can be prevented if they receive help and seek ways to be able to tackle that emotion or that feeling of committing suicide, maybe through therapy or calling I'm sure you've seen so many people that are online that are giving numbers of people that you can actually talk to and call and talk about your mental health issues or whatever it is that you're going through at the moment. Another myth is that suicidal thoughts and behaviors are hereditary. Well, suicidal thoughts and behaviors tend to run in families. They are not actually hereditary. It is people experiencing suicidal thoughts that know their option that other than ending life. So what I can say is that the fact is that suicidal habits cannot be hereditary at all. There is no gene that has been shown to be connected to people, like heredity, genes that show that people of this that have this gene will commit suicide. So that's a lie. Then another myth is that all suicidal young people are depressed. While depression mood is common, this is not true for everyone who commits suicide. Suicide cannot, or everyone who has depression doesn't mean that they're going to commit suicide. So that's a myth and it needs to stop. So one of the last myths that I needed to highlight is a marked and a sudden improvement in mental health status following a crisis indicates the risk of doing suicide or suicide is over. So let me just state it again. So this person might be experiencing the suicidal thoughts, then all of a sudden they improve, and you think that maybe they have decided not to go on with the suicide action. So basically, this is a myth, and it needs to, we need to help this person because the fact is that they might improve for some time and then relapse again. So they need to follow through their medications or maybe their therapy or whichever help that they are seeking at the moment to make sure that this the thoughts go away kabisa and they are able to focus on their life and get back to normal. How do you support someone who thinks about committing suicide or has suicidal thoughts? One of the things that you can actually do is listen to them and encourage them to be able to go and seek help or connect them with a therapist or someone who can actually help them to understand their emotions and help them to come out of the act. Then something else you need to do is that acknowledge their fears, their sadness, and their hopelessness. Just being able to understand or sort of appreciate that this is someone who is, could be your brother or your sister or anyone, but acknowledging that the fact that they are right to feel the way they are feeling, and you don't need to dismiss their feelings or anything or judge them because of the way they are feeling. So acknowledge their fears, their sadness, and their hopelessness, and sort of help them to be able to get help. So something else you can also help someone who is thinking about doing suicide or committing suicide is if they have told you or shared with you how they're thinking about doing it, or some you've seen them sort of maybe it happened before and they were able to overcome it, but maybe they may thinking of doing the same thing. You can remove the things that are around them that might accelerate or sort of encourage them to do what they want to commit suicide, that is. So you can remove many medications that they may think of using to do the suicide action, or if this a self-harming object, that is like a razor or things like that, you can remove them from the environment. And then something else is to also, there are helplines that, as I mentioned earlier, that you can actually connect them and encourage them to sort of call the people and ask them to get help. So some of the numbers that you can actually contact or seek help from is AMREF Health, and I'm going to include their number on the description box, and also other contacts of people that you can actually talk to be able to help you to overcome that act of thinking about committing suicide. And just a disclaimer that this video is not supported by AMREF or any other organization that we mentioned. I just thought it's good that we highlight these issues, and it's good to share. If you have information, share with someone who might need it. So thank you so much for watching my YouTube channel, and see you on the next one. as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to try to be consistent and give you quality videos that I'm going, that you can actually share with someone, comment on them, and also if you have any questions, make sure that you include them in the comments, and let's help each other to prevent suicide in Kenya. Thank you so much. Make sure that you subscribe. Bye bye.